I'm reading a community post of mine from 4 months ago. "Aren't you glad," said the hard taskmasters to the Israelites in Egypt, "that you have meat and leeks and onions? Now to the bricks." And they cracked their whip. But God said, "Let my people go, that they may hold a feast to me in the wilderness." "Aren't you glad," said Martha to Mary, "that Jesus is in our house now? Now he needs us. We got to prepare food for him. Here's the kitchen knife. Come, help me in the kitchen." But Jesus says, "I have food to eat of which you do not know, and my food is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work." John 4. Jesus sides with Mary. He commends her for sitting at his feet and listening. "Aren't you glad," said the brother of the prodigal son, "that you were received back to the father's estate? Now show your love and gratitude. Here's the plow. You know where the field is, right?" But the father had invited the younger brother into the house, where the feast was being prepared. He had given him sandals to wear, which slaves who worked in the field weren't wearing back then. "Aren't you glad," said the YouTuber, "that you have received the free gift of salvation?" "Shame on you," continued the YouTuber. "You aren't serving Jesus. You are lazy, like Mary. You aren't being productive, like the older brother of the prodigal son was. You haven't earned the reward of the feast, like the older brother." Have you ever noticed that it was the father himself who had invited the prodigal son into the house and to the feast? That he had not requested the older son to work in the field? That he was not impressed by the fact that he had kept all his commandments? That he pleads with him to come and join the feast, which can be had for free? But that the brother stubbornly refuses to come? Have you ever noticed that Martha was mad at Mary for not joining her in the work? That the older brother was mad at the younger, of whom he thought he was a good for nothing and hadn't deserved the feast? That the so-called grace YouTubers, just like the above-mentioned Bible characters who were mad at their siblings and at God, are furious for the same reasons? The workers for Jesus and for the Father are angry, very angry, at God, of whom they think he's unfair for letting those participate in the feast who haven't earned it, at believers who rest and listen and feast, while they themselves toil and sweat and keep commandments. It says that the father pleaded with the older son to come into the house and join the feast. We don't know how long he did that, for at some point he will have wanted to go back inside and join the celebration.